Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, TSA workers set to get paid, more U.S. troops in the Middle East, and an unforgettable March Madness finish. Relief at the airport. TSA workers expected to finally get paid today, the latest with a standoff over funding, as this partial government shutdown is now the longest in history. Congress out on spring break for the next 2 weeks.
More American troops arrive in the Middle East. 50,000 troops now in the region, as President Trump sets his sights on oil in Iran, while also saying there could be a deal as early as this week. Secretary of State Marco Rubio joins us live.
Taking to the streets.
This is what democracy looks like.
Millions across the nation protesting the Trump administration in the historic No King's Day demonstrations, calling out the president over the war, his immigration policies, and more, with the midterm elections now just months away.
New details on the flight attendant thrown more than 300 feet after the runway collision at LaGuardia Airport. The first image of her, and what her daughter is saying about her mother's condition this morning. Countdown is on for the first human moon mission in more than 50 years. We hear from the astronauts this morning before they head deeper into space than ever before.
No Kinergy here, the Barbie Dream Fest going viral.
The inflatable bee is deflating.
Why many fans say it didn't live up to what they were promised.
'Cause it feels so mystical, magical.
Ooh, March magic.
Mullins tosses it up. It's good.
UConn pulling off the improbable comeback win, stunning Duke to earn a trip to the Final Four, joining Illinois, Michigan, and Arizona.
Good morning, America. We're going to the Final Four.
And UConn's women one step closer to another title and a perfect season, booking their ticket to the Final Four. Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Monday. Good morning, America.
How are they feeling in Connecticut this morning?
Oh my gosh, very good. They call it March Madness for a reason.
They
I'm
sure
telling
do.
you what.
What a finish. We're going to have a lot more on that.
Come on. And did you see the UConn women's reaction? They'd already secured their spot in the Final Four. They're back at the hotel. They see what the men do. And it's so great to see that kind of support and the jubilation. It's the sixth time that they're both going to the Final Four, and they have won it 3 times together.
Incredible.
Incredible. We'll have much more on March Madness coming up. We're going to begin, though, the latest on the situation at America's airports. TSA officers due to finally start receiving paychecks today on President Trump's orders after going weeks without pay, calling out in record numbers as the partial government shutdown enters day 45. The question is whether airport security lines will finally get back to normal. Will Reeves starts us off from Newark Airport. Good morning to you, Will.
Good morning to you, Robin. More than 60,000 TSA officers have missed 2 full paychecks since this partial shutdown began. Record numbers of officers have called out in recent days as security lines at some of the nation's busiest airports have stretched out to the curb. But today, some expected relief to the system.
This morning, for the first time in a month and a half, TSA officers are expecting paychecks. Overnight, President Trump was asked how long TSA officers will be paid for.
We're going to pay them for as long as we have to.
45 days into a partial government shutdown that has left the Department of Homeland Security unfunded, TSA workers have called out in record numbers. Nearly 3,000, over 10% of the agency, calling out Saturday alone. More than 500 officers have quit since the funding crisis began last month. On Friday, the president signed a memo to redirect funds to give TSA officers their back pay, as lawmakers failed to reach a deal to restore funding before leaving for a 2-week congressional break. TSA officers say today's paycheck can't come soon enough.
The mental strain of not going to work or going to work and not getting paid for 3 out of the last 5 months is just unbelievable.
Security lines have slowed to an hours-long crawl at some of the nation's busiest airports. Both Houston airports, BWI in Baltimore, JFK in New York, and Atlanta Hartsfield all operating with over 30% of TSA officers absent over the weekend. Amid the spring break travel crush, some travelers have hired line sitters to wait it out for them.
So I waited in line, and then as I was getting close to the front, I would text the client and say, hey, I'm about 30 minutes out. So then they know to head to the airport and meet me.
White House border czar Tom Homan deploying immigration and customs enforcement agents to airports. Some agents will remain at airports until TSA officers can resume normal operations. Still, questions remain about how long the funding will last and what happens next.
It's not enough at all. We're only going to be back paid for the paychecks that we've missed. Moving forward, we don't know if we're going to get paid in another 2 weeks.
As those officers get paid, officials are hopeful that travelers will see the benefits of shorter security lines somewhat soon, George.
Yeah, we all hope for that. Okay, well, thanks very much. But the president's order paying TSA workers is only a temporary fix. Congress is still going to have to authorize funding, but a deal's still out of reach. Lawmakers now on a 2-week break. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is tracking the latest in Washington. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. 45 days into this partial government shutdown, and Congress has left town for 2 weeks. I've talked to Democrats and Republicans. Right now, there are no plans for lawmakers to return back here to Washington to address this. This has now become the longest shutdown in American history. The president has taken action to pay those TSA workers, but that is only a temporary fix. Only Congress can fully fund the Department of Homeland Security. There are still thousands of DHS workers who are going without pay, including civilian employees with the Coast Guard and with FEMA. The Senate and the House have now passed 2 competing proposals. Democrats are still demanding significant changes to immigration before fully funding DHS. But instead of staying here in Washington to work out their differences, lawmakers have now all left town for a 2-week recess. It is worth noting that they are still getting their paychecks with no end in sight to this partial government shutdown, Robin.
That is worth noting, as you said, Rachel. Thank you. The latest now on the war with Iran. More U.S. troops have arrived in the region as President Trump claims negotiations with Iran are ongoing and a deal may be possible soon. Matt Rivers is in Doha, the capital of Qatar. Good morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, Robin. We have seen some of the most intense fighting of this war over the weekend, including just this morning in both Israel and Iran, as the threat of U.S. troops going to the ground in Iran looms. Overnight, missiles bombarding Tehran. As the war with Iran stretches into its 5th week, Iran striking the Israeli oil refinery in Haifa, flames and thick black smoke filling the sky. Iran now threatening to set American troops on fire and target the residences of American and Israeli officials who are living in the region, including those at universities. In a new interview, the president setting his sights on the oil in Iran, saying, "My favorite thing is to take the oil in Iran, but some stupid people back in the U.S. say, why are you doing that? But they're stupid people." Trump noting that seizing Iran's oil would likely involve seizing Karg Island, which handles nearly all of Iran's oil exports. But that would require U.S. troops on the ground. CENTCOM announcing the USS Tripoli, carrying 3,500 additional service members and Marines from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, has arrived in the region. A 2nd Marine unit is already on its way, with an additional 1,500 soldiers from the Army's elite 82nd Airborne also preparing to deploy. The U.S. has about 50,000 service members in the Middle East. The president saying of Karg Island, "I don't think they have any defense. We could take it very easily." On Air Force One Sunday night, he insisted a deal with Iran could be done soon.
They're agreeing with us on the plan. I mean, we asked for 15 things, and for the most part, we're going to be asking for a couple of other things.
He says Iran has agreed to allow 20 more oil tankers to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, a move, he says, that shows negotiations are going well.
And just to prove that they're serious, they gave us all these boats.
But Trump is refusing to rule out using ground troops as more U.S. service members move into the region.
I just have lots of alternatives. We have tremendous numbers of ships over there. We don't need them all because of, the power.
House Majority Leader Steve Scalise acknowledging the troop movements in the region and not ruling out troops on the ground.
There are no boots on the ground today, but we're having a lot of conversations about what could happen next.
And now Israel ramping up strikes. Iran's University of Science and Technology left in ruins after being hit by an Israeli airstrike, as plans are made to increase operations in southern Lebanon, targeting Iranian-backed Hezbollah. Now, Pakistan foreign minister says that he expects the U.S. and Iran to meet for talks, quote, in the coming days. But frankly, we heard that kind of optimism last week, and it went nowhere. So what an off-ramp for this war looks like remains very much unclear. Guys?
Okay, Matt, thanks very much. Let's take a look at the economic toll of the war with Elizabeth Schulze. These oil prices are biting.
They are biting. And 1 month into the war, George and Robin, we are really seeing how those prices are squeezing the global economy. So oil this morning trading above $100 a barrel. It is up 50% now. since the start of the war, just 4 weeks. Some analysts do think we are going to get to $200 with there is no clear end in sight to that gridlock in the Strait of Hormuz. And as so many drivers are seeing, we've talked about this, that has caused gas to spike at this record-setting pace. The national average is $3.96 a gallon. 1 month ago, it was $2.94. And Gas Buddy does say we're likely to pass that $4 mark in the next day or two. Also very critical to keep an eye on diesel. We're at $5.37 a gallon. It is the highest now since 2022 after Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
And we're also seeing prices go up at other places because of higher oil.
Those ripple effects are happening. So immediately we see airfare. Major airlines say prices are going up 20% to account for those higher jet fuel costs. The next place to watch now is food. So the Agriculture Department just released its monthly forecast for grocery prices. It says that prices could go up as much as 6% now this year. When you break that down, you see beef prices up 10%. That is on top of already very high prices there. Fresh vegetables up 5%, fish and seafood up 4%. So some of those foods that spoil have to be transported very quickly. That's why we might see those prices go up first, because of those higher transportation costs.
And we've also seen a steady decline in the stock market since the war began.
Yes, this is a very big move in stocks. The S&P 500 now down 7% since the start of the war. So for the typical American's 401k that's invested in the S&P 500, that's a loss of about $10,000 in just 4 weeks, guys.
Elizabeth Schultze, thanks. We're going to get the latest now on Cuba. After imposing an oil blockade on the island and calling for regime change, President Trump is now allowing a Russian oil tanker to deliver its cargo. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz is tracking the new developments. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, George. This morning, the Russians say their tanker, loaded with 100,000 tons of oil, has now arrived at a Cuban port. President Trump is allowing the Russians to make the delivery despite months of blocking much-needed oil from reaching the island. Blocking those deliveries has put immense pressure on the Cuban government and has had a devastating effect on the country, causing blackouts and escalating gas prices. Late last night, President Trump saying he has no problem with the Russian tanker delivering oil, saying, "I'd prefer letting it in, whether it's Russia or anybody else, because the people need heat and cooling." The president adding that he still expects Cuba to fall, despite the fact that this Russian oil relieves pressure on the island, at least temporarily. Robin?
Temporarily. All right, Martha, thank you so much. Now to the nationwide demonstrations over the weekend, with millions taking to the streets in cities and towns all across America to protest President Trump and his policies. Rhiannon Alley is here with more on that. Good morning to you, Rhiannon.
Good morning, Robin. Yeah, No Kings organizers are calling Saturday the largest single-day nonviolent protest in modern American history, as millions took to the streets coast to coast to protest some of the president's policies. Over the weekend, at least 8 million protesters taking to the streets in a historic nationwide demonstration, according to event organizers from big cities.
This is what democracy looks like.
New York, to Dallas, to Albuquerque, to Los Angeles, to smaller towns.
It's time to speak up. I don't want to be a bystander to this.
3,000 separate events marking No Kings Day, protesting President Trump and his administration over what many say are abuses of power from the war in Iran.
I don't see a strategy behind the war other than the finicky whims of our president.
To the administration's immigration crackdown.
No hate, no fear. ICE is not welcome here.
Outrage continues over the deaths of American citizens Alex Preddy and Renee Good, both shot and killed by federal officers earlier this year. In Minnesota, Bruce Springsteen performing for tens of thousands.
On the streets of
Protesters turning out even in some towns where President Trump won in the last election, like Cass County, Iowa. The protests fueling anticipation for this year's midterm season elections, as Democrats hope to take back Congress. Now, there were a few incidents we want to mention in Los Angeles as things turned a bit chaotic there. Dozens of people were arrested for failing to disperse, and some were throwing rocks, bottles, even broken concrete blocks at officers. This is according to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. 2 officers were hit and had to receive medical attention, guys.
I hope they're okay. Okay, Rhiannon, thanks very much. Now to new details on the flight attendant who survived the deadly runway collision at LaGuardia Airport after being ejected from the plane. Chief Investigative Correspondent Aaron Katursky here with the latest on that. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, George. Good morning, Robin. this is just incredible. When Air Canada Flight 8646 crashed into a fire truck as it landed last week at LaGuardia Airport, the senior flight attendant on board, Solange Tremblay, was thrown more than 320 feet. Her daughter says she was found still strapped into her jump seat lying on the tarmac. And her daughter shared this photo of her mother in the hospital as part of a GoFundMe campaign that said Tremblay suffered 2 shattered legs and a fractured spine. She's going to need multiple surgeries and intensive rehab to learn to walk again. The collision killed the 2 pilots, Antoine Forrest and Mackenzie Gunther, making it the first deadly crash at LaGuardia in more than 3 decades. The fire truck lacked a device to track its exact location, and by the time air traffic controllers shouted over the radio for it to stop, it was too late. There were 2 controllers on duty. That's fewer than during business hours. And while common on the overnight shift, guys, that's a practice that the NTSB has criticized and called into question.
Yeah, they've looked into that. They really have. All right, Aaron, thanks to you. March Madness, the men's Final Four is set this morning, and Lara has the biggest moments from the Elite 8 games, and they were elite.
Elite indeed. And, I hate to be, sort of... I don't know. It is March Madness. I don't know what else to tell you. Top-seeded Duke going home. UConn fans will never forget that last-ditch miracle shot that gave the Huskies the win against all odds. Check it out.
Mullins tosses it up. It's good!
Overnight, a thriller and a hero deciding the final spot in the men's Final Four.
A March hero is born, and it's Braylon Mullins.
UConn freshman Braylon Mullins delivering a comeback for the ages.
UConn still has the March magic.
Number 1 seed Duke up by 19 at one point in the game with the Boozer brothers dominating.
Boozer drives and banks it in.
But the Huskies stormed back.
What a play.
And what a guy.
And now Braylon Mullins is going back to Indy for the Final Four.
Duke's Hail Mary attempt batted away, sending UConn into its 3rd Final Four in just 4 years.
And it's over.
How about this guy?
Lindeborg wide open.
On the other side of the bracket, Michigan overpowering Tennessee.
Michigan rolling in Chicago. May a 3. Strong lumbering through the lane.
And in the women's tournament, the defending champions dance on.
UConn is headed to an unprecedented 25th Final Four.
It was Blanca Quinones with a breakout performance off the bench for UConn with 20 points in their double-digit win over Notre Dame.
Largest lead of the day for UConn.
The Huskies into an NCAA record 25th Final Four.
People say, well, that's number 25 for you. Well, that's number 1 for Blanca, number 1 for Heckel, number 1 for Sarah Williams.
Betts, another offensive rebound.
And UCLA, led by a 6'7" center Lauren Betts, coming back to beat a stubborn Duke team and reaching back-to-back Final Fours.
I'm just so proud of this team, our perseverance. God, I'm sweaty.
So good to be a UConn Husky fan. The men and the women, both in the Final Four in the same year for a record 6th time. And on another note, and this is interesting, on the women's side, if Texas beats Michigan and South Carolina beats TCU tonight, the Final Four will have all 4 number 1 seeds. And you can see those games on ESPN starting at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. I mean, no words.
I still can't believe the Duke game. I mean, you're leading by 19.
For the Dukies this morning.
I know, you don't even need to get it across.
I know.
All you have to do. Anyway.
It was a great moment.
That's why we watch, right?
That is why we watch. That's why it's March Madness.
And coming up, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is going to join us live on the war with Iran, the negotiations ended, and the situation in Cuba.
Also ahead, ready to launch, we hear from the astronauts counting down to their historic mission around the moon.
And the groundbreaking new treatment for colorectal cancer. Dr. Newell is here to tell us about it. First, there is a new world of Frozen at Disney, and we're going to give you a first look.
Back here on GMA, that's a look at Raleigh-Durham International Airport, the security line you see stretching through the terminal. Just one of the many U.S. airports experiencing historically long TSA wait times as this government shutdown is now the longest in history.
Yeah, we hope some relief is coming.
We sure do. And to the other major story this morning, the latest on the war with Iran, 50,000 U.S. troops now in the region. President Trump setting his sights on oil in Iran. Ian Pannell joins us with the latest. Good morning, Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Robin. Despite talk of winding up the war with Iran, President Trump also now appearing to want to escalate it further. Over the weekend, saying he'd, quote, take the oil in Iran. Talking to Financial Times, saying he's considering taking Karg Island. 90% of Iran's oil passes through this tiny piece of land in the northern Arabian Gulf. Remember, the US hit Karg with a series of airstrikes earlier this month, but left the oil infrastructure intact. Trump now seeming to say he's considering sending in US ground troops. There are roughly 50,000 US service personnel in the region, with CENTCOM announcing more arriving over the weekend. But invading Karg would potentially put US forces directly in harm's way, because the island is only 16 miles from the Iranian mainland, and it risks having a further disastrous impact on oil prices. Despite the escalation, the president also saying talks via Pakistani intermediaries are progressing, but you only have to look at ongoing US and Israeli strikes and Iran's enduring ability to retaliate to know that ending this war is likely to prove far harder than starting it. George?
Ian Pannell, thanks. Let's talk more about this with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining us this morning. Let's talk about the president's comments overnight, talking about taking the oil on Karg Island. How would he do this? Why would he do this? Won't it take ground troops?
Well, first of all, it's important to remember the objectives of this operation from the very beginning. We are destroying Iran's navy. We are destroying their ability to their missile launchers by a significant percentage. We're going to wipe out their defense industrial base, meaning their ability to make new missiles and new drones in the future, because it poses a great threat to the region. This Iran that you're seeing now, this is Iran at its weakest point. Imagine them 2 years from now if they had thousands of more missiles, thousands of more missile launchers and factories to make even more. That was an unacceptable risk. It needed to be addressed, and President Trump is addressing it. Now, they are making threats about controlling the Hormuz Straits in perpetuity, creating a tolling system and the like. That's not going to be allowed to happen. And the president has a number of options available to him if he so chooses to prevent that from happening. Obviously, I'm not going to discuss what those options are, and we're not going to discuss military tactics. The Department of War would be in charge of those things. I'd refer you to them, but obviously they're not going to discuss it with you either. But there is a way forward here to achieve our objectives. We are going to achieve our objectives in a matter of weeks, not months.
Well, but let's talk about taking the oil, because the president laid out that objective last night. And taking the oil will take ground troops, won't it?
Well, again, the Iranians are threatening that they're going to set up some permanent system in the Straits of Hormuz where they get to decide who goes through international waterways. That will never be allowed to happen. By the way, the rest of the world should take note of that. They have more at stake there than we do. We get very little of our energy in this country coming through the Straits of Hormuz. The rest of the world gets a lot more. That said, the president has several options at his disposal, and the Department of War is preparing optionality for the president for this and various other contingencies that might arise. That's what always needs to happen in situations like this. But what I want the American people and the people watching this broadcast to know is that fundamentally what this is about is the destruction of their Air Force, which has been largely achieved, the destruction of their Navy, which has been largely achieved, the destruction of their factories that they make all these weapons with, which is we're well on our way to achieving, and a substantial reduction in the number of missile launchers that they have so that they cannot continue to threaten their neighbors in the future. All of those objectives are being met on or ahead of schedule, and should be able to achieve in a matter of weeks.
As you're speaking, though, the president is expanding the objectives. Just a couple minutes ago, he put out a post on Truth Social saying that we're in discussions now with a new and more reasonable regime in Iran, but he also added that if those discussions don't yield fruit, the United States will blow up and completely obliterate all of their electric generating plants, all their oil wells, and Karg Island, and possibly all desalinization plants, which we have purposely not yet touched, is what he said. That's a great expansion of the objectives.
Well, I think the first point the president makes is he prefers diplomacy. As I said, those efforts are nascent. There is messages being relayed back and forth, some conversations going on, including through intermediaries, and he always prefers that. Look, if the Iranian regime had come forward at any point in the past and said, we're going to walk away from our nuclear ambitions, we're going to do nuclear energy the way every other country in the world, primarily, almost every other country in the world does it, and that is through a peaceful means in which you bring in the fuel and it's supervised and so forth. We're going to stop supporting terrorist groups across the region. Look at this region. Every single terrorist terrorist group in this region has a link to the Iranian regime. Every single one. The Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Shia militias that are attacking everyone out of Iraq. Every single one of these groups and all the destabilization in this region tracks directly back to the Iranian regime. Those things have to be addressed. And if Iran had been willing to address those in the past, we wouldn't be having this interview on this topic right now. Their refusal to do so and their continuing move towards one day acquiring a nuclear capability, these people are lunatics. They are insane. They are religious zealots who can never be allowed to possess a nuclear weapon because they have an apocalyptic vision of the future. And all of their neighbors know that, by the way, which is why all of their neighbors have been supportive of the efforts we're conducting.
You call them lunatics, but the president just had this post where he says we're in discussions with a new and more reasonable regime. Let me try to pin you down on that. Who is this new and more reasonable regime? Is the United States in direct contact with them?
Well, I'm not going to disclose to you who those people are because it probably would get them in trouble with some other groups of people inside of Iran. Look, there's some fractures going on there internally. And at the end of the day, I think that if there are people in Iran who now, given everything that's happened, are willing to move in a different direction for their country, that would be great. Imagine in Iran that instead of spending their wealth, billions of dollars supporting terrorists or weapons, had spent that money helping the people of Iran, you'd have a much different country. So we are always hopeful that that would exist over there. It's unfortunate. The people of Iran are incredible people. The people who lead them, this clerical regime, that is the problem. And if there are new people now in charge who have a more reasonable vision of the future, that would be good news for us, for them, for the entire world. But we also have to be prepared for the possibility, maybe even the probability, that that is not the case.
Well, but the president said they are. Is that the case or is it not? I'm just trying to get some clarity on that.
Well, what I mean is, yeah, so you have people over there that are saying some of the right things privately. Obviously, they're not going to put it out in press releases, and what they say to you or put out there for the world doesn't necessarily reflect what they're saying in our conversations. But at the end of the day, we have to see if these people end up being the ones in charge, seeing if they're the ones that have the power to deliver. We're going to test it. We are hopeful that that's the case. There are clearly people there talking to us in ways that previous people in charge in Iran have not spoken to us in the past. Some of the things they're willing to do, some of the things they're saying they're willing to do. Obviously, they have to go do it. We're going to test that proposition very strongly because we always prefer to settle things through negotiation and diplomacy. But we also have to be prepared for the fact that that effort might fail, that we are dealing with a 47-year-old regime that still has a lot of people involved in it who aren't necessarily big fans of diplomacy or peace.
And if it fails, the war expands?
What's that? I'm sorry?
If it fails, the war expands?
Well, the war is about this operation, okay, and that's what this is. It's about very specific objectives. The president laid them out on the first night of the operation. I'll repeat them to you now because I hear a lot of talk about we don't know what the clear objectives are. Here they are. You should write them down. Number one, the destruction of their Air Force. Number two, the destruction of their Navy. Number three, the severe diminishing of their missile launching capability. And number four, the destruction of their factories so they can't make more missiles and more drones to threaten us in the future. All of this so that they can never hide behind it to acquire a nuclear weapon. That was our objective from the beginning. That remains our objective now. We are on pace and, in fact, ahead of schedule on some of those things, and we are going to achieve those things in a number of weeks, not in a number of months.
Mr. Secretary, thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks, George.
Now on GMA, that is a live look at Artemis 2 on the launch pad at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The launch window for its mission around the moon is about to open, and this morning we are hearing from the crew. Perry Russell is here as they get set to make history. Good morning to you, Perry.
Robin, good morning to you. Right now, the astronauts are in quarantine, going over their mission, spending time with family. If all goes according to plan, for 10 days, we'll watch them slingshot around the moon.
This morning, T-minus 2 days to history. The countdown is on for the first human moon mission in more than 50 years.
We can safely say the crew's ready, the rocket's ready, the spaceship's ready.
The Artemis 2 plans to launch 4 astronauts on a 10-day, 685,000-mile journey, slingshotting around the moon, venturing deeper into space than ever before. It's a crucial step in NASA's multi-billion-dollar project to land humans back on the moon, build a lunar base, and send future explorers to Mars. The crew led by Commander Reed Wiseman.
We're doing this because it's a unique opportunity. We are going for all and by all. This is what NASA embodies.
The Artemis 2 astronauts speaking from quarantine at the Kennedy Space Center. It's a history-making crew. Victor Glover is set to become the first black man to travel into deep space.
Young brown boys and girls can look at me and go, hey, he looks like me and he's doing what? And that's great. I love that. But I also hope we are pushing the other direction, that one day we don't have to talk about these first, that one day this is just, and I listen to this, that this is the human history.
Christina Cook will be the first woman to journey to the moon.
If there is something to celebrate, it's that we are at a time when everyone who has a dream gets to work equally hard to achieve that dream.
The trip, years in the making, has been hit with delays, from hydrogen fuel leaks to an interruption of helium flow in the rocket.
We have the best crew that you could put together from NASA and the Canadian Space Agency here. And we have the ultimate trust in each other. And that's how we will get through this.
And we also want to mention Jeremy Hansen. He will be on the flight. He is from the Canadian Space Agency, the first Canadian to go to the moon. NASA says they are forecast to be an 80% go for Wednesday. Primary concerns being clouds and high winds. Robin, speaking of just hearing them speak, they're all so incredible. Focused on the team too, not their individual accomplishments.
I know, and we wish them all a safe journey. Thank you, Perry, for being here. We're going to you can tune into ABC News Live for coverage of Artemis 2. Mission to the moon on Wednesday. Good Lord willing, the creek don't rise. That'll be April 1st.
Claire is here with an express version of Play the Day.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so we have two of our favorite things this morning, Dancing with the Stars and the Savannah Bananas, coming together to kick off your Monday with a smile. Derek Cup, oh my, well, and other dancers from the show took over the field in Anaheim, California over the weekend. The Bananas were there playing the Indianapolis Clowns. Derek and the dancers were there promoting Derek's Symphony of Dance Encore Tour. That kicks off soon in California, and they delivered. Wow. Now that's a good play of the day. And I have time left. Drop the mic.
That is a good smash up between those two.
Yeah, I think everyone had a good time.
Oh, good. You were right. Express.
Yes.
All right. Coming up, new study on exercise and chronic illness. Dr. Tara Narula will be here to talk about that. You had a few extra seconds.
I know. I want to sing now.
Oh, no. Come back.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Relief at the airport. TSA workers expected to finally get paid today. The latest with the standoff over funding, as the partial government shutdown is now the longest in history. Congress out on spring break for the next 2 weeks.
The fallout for Tiger Woods after his rollover crash and DUI arrest, which comes as he was mounting a comeback to competitive golf. What one of his fellow golfers and friends is saying, and what comes next for Tiger. And finally, they're opening up the gates. Disneyland Paris welcoming fans into the magical world of Frozen. But before they did, we got a first look just for you.
Welcome to Arendelle.
We're showing you what makes it special as we say Good Morning America. Live from ABC News headquarters in New York City, it's Monday. Good Morning America.
Love hearing that song. Love seeing you again. Good morning, America. Hope your week is off to a good start.
Good to have you back.
Thank you.
You missed us, right?
Of course I did.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Coming up, big bargains on the way with Lori Bergamotto and ABC's Secret Savings. She has the best in beauty to refresh your hair and skincare. Prices up to 50% off.
And just ahead, Dr. Tara Narula is here with a new study on the effect of exercise on chronic illness. That's coming up. First look at the top stories breaking at 8. We start with the latest on the situation at America's airports. TSA officers are due to start receiving paychecks today after going weeks without pay as the partial government shutdown enters day 45. We'll revisit Newark Airport. Good morning, Will.
Good morning again, George. Yeah, for the first time in 45 days since that partial government shutdown began, TSA officers can expect to start seeing their paychecks. On Friday, President Trump issuing a memo that redirected some federal funds to give TSA officers their back pay. There are questions about how long that arrangement will last. Overnight, the president saying, quote, "We're going to pay them as long as we have to," as TSA officers have missed their last 2 full paychecks. They've been calling out of work in droves. Nationwide, over 10% of officers, nearly 3,000 officers called out of work on Saturday, a record 12+% called out on Friday. And since the shutdown began, 500 TSA officers have outright quit, which has led to security lines slowing to a seemingly interminable crawl at many of the nation's busiest airports. Both Houston airports, BWI in Baltimore, JFK in New York, and Atlanta Hartsfield all saw 30+% of their TSA officers absent over the weekend. That led to some long lines. Here, anecdotally, at Newark right now, it's a normal-ish Monday morning during spring break, although it is building right now, but we should see some relief coming through the system as TSA officers get those paychecks that they've missed for 45 days. Robin?
And they deserve that back pay, but as you said, normal-ish. We'll take that. All right, Will, thank you.
Yeah.
We're going to turn now. An incredible moment at the on the PGA Tour, and a comeback story that's going to really warm your heart. Hannah Patah joins us with that story. Good morning to you, Hannah.
Good morning to you, Robin. It was a heartwarming moment that really seemed improbable just 2.5 years ago. That's when doctors removed a lesion on Woodland's brain. The golfer then yesterday, with this final putt, he won the Houston Open. It was tears of joy and hugs with his wife and caddy. Just 2 weeks ago, he opened up about his struggles with post-traumatic stress disorder related to the lesion. Well, after the win, he said he hopes to inspire those who are struggling, saying he hopes they see him and don't give up. Just keep fighting. Next, Woodland heads to the Masters. Guys.
We sure do. We sure do. Thank you, Hannah. We have a GMA health alert about exercise and disease. A new study suggests exercise intensity may matter more than total activity when it comes to preventing some chronic diseases. ABC News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Tara Narula going to break this down for us. What that study say?
Good morning. I was just thinking about this as I was on the treadmill this weekend, wondering should I just continue walking or should I sprint and do some high intensity? So a lot of people wonder, how much do I need to do? Should it be moderate? Should it be vigorous? A mix of both. So this study looked to answer that question. What is most beneficial when it comes to chronic disease and reducing your risk of dying? They've looked at about 400,000 individuals, 90,000 of whom wore an accelerometer to track their activity. Over 300,000 answered survey questions. They followed them for around 8 to 14 years. These were individuals average age of 50 to 60. And they in fact found that those who had a higher proportion of vigorous intensity exercise had a reduction in 8 chronic diseases. And we're talking about a reduction of about 30 to 60%. And these are things like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, dementia, liver disease, chronic respiratory disease, and a reduction in death by about 46%. What was also interesting, 2 things. One, that it didn't seem to matter the amounts of vigorous time. The benefits were there even with small amounts of additional vigorous intensity activity. And the other interesting finding was that for certain disease processes, the vigorous intensity mattered more. So for example, for immune-related inflammatory disorders like psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, or even inflammatory bowel disease, the vigorous intensity really packed the biggest punch in terms of benefit. Second after that were things like dementia, chronic respiratory disease, cardiovascular disease. And then what seemed to have benefit in terms of physical volume of activity, the amount of activity in equal proportion to vigorous, were metabolic diseases. So things like diabetes, fatty liver disease, chronic kidney disease. For some reason, for those disease processes, it wasn't so much focused on the intensity, but again, more on the amount and the intensity.
But intensity sounds intimidating. So how can people work it in to their daily routine?
Well, I think, certainly there are high intensity, sprint workouts or cycling workouts. You can think about doing things like playing tag with your kids or running up the stairs or running between errands. So little bursts of activity. The researchers say that even 15 to about 25 minutes per week additional can be beneficial. That's like a couple minutes a day. And the idea is that there's something possibly about the vigorous activity that works differently in our body than activity that's less intense. So for example, helping our heart pump more efficiently, helping the blood vessels relax and work better, helping our respiratory muscles, our oxygenation, even changing the chemicals in our brain that can lead to neuroplasticity, and then decreasing inflammation. So important to know if you are older or have any other chronic medical conditions, you wouldn't necessarily want to jump to the vigorous without running it by your doctor.
So what did you end up doing on the treadmill?
I did about it. Well, I did it for 10 minutes. A 10-minute sprint, walk,
That's
sprint,
not
walk.
a sprint. 10 minutes?
No, it was a minute of sprinting and then a minute of walking.
Okay.
It was hard.
I thought you said 10 minutes of sprinting.
10 minutes of the sort of fast on and then off, fast on and then off.
Okay.
It's and still then another
lot.
20.
George and I look at each other going like,
I'm gonna take you on my next workout with me, Robin.
Why did I have to say that? You're on.
Thank you. Coming up in our GMA Morning menu, what's next for Tiger Woods after his DUI arrest?
Also ahead, the Barbie Dream Fest that has many people talking online why fans are disappointed.
Plus, we have a first look at the new world of Frozen at Disneyland Paris, and Lara's got a guest.
Yes, and we're doing touch-ups because this is live TV, and that's what we do. Olivia Munn is here, everybody. We're backstage getting ready to talk about your friends and neighbors. So excited to dig deep on the new season of that and so much more. Are you happy to be here this early?
I am so
I know
happy
you
to
were
be
up
here
early.
I was. I woke up, my eyes popped open at 1 a.m.
And she is ready. She is ready, everybody. We'll be back on Good Morning America with the one and only, our friend, Olivia Munn. Stay with us.
And we are back with our GMA cover story, the fallout from the SUV crash and DUI arrest of Tiger Woods. Victor Kendo's in Stuart, Florida with the story. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, George. We are just outside the Martin County Sheriff's Office. Tiger Woods has kept a low profile since the accident, with so much uncertainty surrounding his legal situation and future in golf.
This morning, new questions about the legal ramifications facing Tiger Woods following his latest arrest for DUI charges. The 82-time PGA winner leaving Martin County Jail in Florida late Friday.
It doesn't matter who you are. If you break the law, we're going to follow the law.
Authorities say the 50-year-old was traveling at a high rate of speed on this two-lane road Friday afternoon, passing a truck when he crashed and rolled over his Land Rover near his home on Jupiter Island. The Martin County Sheriff's Department says Woods was not injured and was able to crawl out of the passenger side door before police arrived. Suspecting Woods may be impaired, officers on scene performed a breathalyzer test, which detected no alcohol, according to investigators. However, authorities say Woods refused to take a blood or urine test.
Urinalysis would have showed evidence or not of other drugs, and since he refused to take it, he was charged with DUI with property damage and failure to take a lawful test, both misdemeanors.
Over the years, Woods has been in multiple vehicle crashes.
You're stopped in the road, in the middle of the road.
In 2017, he was charged with DUI after being found by police asleep behind the wheel of his vehicle. Woods pleaded guilty to reckless driving. In 2021, he nearly had his leg amputated after the SUV he was driving rolled over multiple times outside Los Angeles. This latest arrest comes while Woods mounts a comeback to competitive golf. Just last week, he played in his first match since 2025 for the Jupiter Lynx in ESPN's TGL League. His teammate Kevin Kisner speaking about his friend during this weekend's Houston Open.
Very disturbing. You know, obviously he was really working hard on his game, trying to practice, get back in shape. He signed up for the U.S. Open, Senior Open yesterday, was trying to do anything he could to come back and help our TGL team get ready to hopefully try and play the Masters.
And the complete incident report is expected to be released this week. No word on when Woods will be in court, but it's typically about 2 to 3 weeks. That's right around the same time as the Masters. Guys?
Yeah. All right, Victor. Well, we continue to think of him. I mean, this is not the first time it has happened. We got the Barbie Dream Fest that had so many people talking over the weekend. You got that story for us, Larry?
I do, Robin. Good morning. So let me set this up for you. Day passes for the Barbie Dream Fest in Fort Lauderdale were $30 for kids, $75 for adults. But if you paid nearly $500 for the full weekend Dream Pass, that included an 80s roller rink, glam hair bar, and a Barbie Dreamhouse photo op, among many other activities and perks. However, when some people got there, they say it wasn't quite the dream they were expecting.
Attendees of the first ever Barbie Dream Fest were expecting this. Instead, they received...
The inflatable bee is deflating. There's no music again at the roller disco.
It was just so much emptiness.
With a price tag as high as $449, scores of fans took to social media to complain the Barbie Fest dream didn't match reality.
It said it opened at 9. We weren't let in till 9:45.
The interactive Barbie Dreamhouse was a VW bus that you were not allowed to enter into. And it was a, I would say, cardboard cutout box of a Barbie house.
Alexandria Dugan was hoping for a once-in-a-lifetime experience with her almost 7-year-old niece.
It is Barbie, a reputable, big brand that everyone trusts. I feel like that was just really heartbreaking.
Mischief Management, who licenses the Barbie brand from Mattel, saying in a statement, "We will be providing full refunds to everyone who purchased tickets."
And the organizers of the Barbie Dream Fest did follow through on the promise of celebrity appearances. Tennis star Serena Williams was there. WNBA star Angel Reese as well. They stopped by to speak about female empowerment, so that was good. But as for the rest of the experience, it seems many were hoping for a little more of that signature Barbie sparkle. We did reach out to Mattel, the maker of Barbie. The company told us we want every fan experience to be an excellent one. So they're making it right.
Let's look at the trailer for Sky King, a documentary about a man who stole a commercial jetliner. It features first-time interviews with his family and the air traffic controller who managed the crisis. Sky King premieres on Tuesday, April 14th on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+. Take a look.
Is this hard to talk about?
Yeah, Seattle ground, about to take off. It's going to be crazy.
He was not the type of person to behave like that.
We had a very serious situation.
I did a kind of a bad thing. So you hijacked the plane is what you're saying? Yeah.
This is a major metropolitan area. Thousands of people could be killed. He hasn't flown an airplane before.
How did he get that plane in the air by himself? I couldn't believe it.
I play video games, so, I know what I'm doing a little bit.
Do you have an idea of how much fuel you have left?
Holy smokes, it's going down quick.
In an hour, he's gonna fall out of the sky. The only way out where nobody dies is if he lands the plane successfully.
You're probably going to send some jet because, I could be a bad guy.
I'm requesting military assistance. He just made a threat. I've never heard him say that. He could never be a bad guy. He was always a good guy.
I got a lot of people that care about me. It's going to disappoint them.
15 minutes of fuel.
One of my engines is going out or something.
Oh my God, he was gonna crash.
Oh, man, I'm sick. I want you to whisper sweet nothings through my ear.
I don't think I can do that for you.
Damn it, people's lives are at stake here. Hey, you think this thing can do a barrel roll?
Try to figure out how to use the autopilot first.
Boring.
He's going upside down. Holy!
Can we cut the cameras?
This is probably like jail time for life, huh?
Welcome back to GMA, live from New York City.
We are back here on GMA, and we are here with one of our favorite guests, actress, women's health advocate, Olivia Munn. You've seen her in X-Men, Apocalypse, and The Newsroom. Now she's starring in the series Your Friends and Neighbors. Please welcome Olivia Munn back to the role. GMA, and the crowd goes wild. It is so good to lay our eyes on you. Yeah. All right, let's get to season 2, because season 1, your character framed John Hamm's character for the murder of her husband. So what's going on in season 2?
People are a little sensitive about that.
They're not by people, we mean
everyone on the show. They didn't think I was cool. And my character starts basically at the very bottom. She's, has no money, has lost her husband, her social status, her entire friend group. She's a social pariah. So she's desperately trying to get back to the top. She feels like this is the place where is best for her and her children.
Do you understand why your character would want to stay in that town?
That is a great question. I had asked, I was like, am I going to be behind plexiglass the whole, I was like, is Birkin the new black? Is this what's going to happen? But then I was like, why would she want to be?
Right.
Because if I did anything like this, I'd be gone.
I'm so glad she does want to stay there, because it just makes for great TV.
I think that my character is the only one on the show that came from a blue collar upbringing. So there's this feistiness in her, and I think the fact that the other people don't want her there. She's like, wait, you guys aren't that righteous. Like, none of you are
perfect.
Like, perfect. And, yes, I framed someone for murder. I'm sorry. But,
my bad.
But, but a little empathy? Come on. She was going through a lot.
Yeah.
She was
that
exhausted.
husband of hers was not nice.
He wasn't. Emotional stress is, does a lot of things to people.
Totally warranted.
There is a new neighbor coming in, James Marsden.
Yeah.
I'll show you guys working.
I thought I was in, and then, one wrong move, and I'm out again.
Yeah, one wrong move.
Yeah, well.
Well, that's a spectacular undersell. It's not like you used the wrong fork for your salad.
Look, I'm not saying I don't deserve it. Mistakes were made. I was under duress.
Is that an explanation or an excuse?
Can it be both?
Whatever gets me the second date.
Ooh, I just answered my own question. So there's some action there.
He comes on kind of like the Count of Monte Cristo The Great Gatsby just comes in and just shakes everything up. And thankfully, he takes a liking to my character because I'm the one that is, I think, the most open and vulnerable because of where she's at in that moment, and is just, I think, for him, more intriguing.
Yeah. Now, you've never worked with James Marsden before.
I have not.
But you guys have an old connection.
We do. So I was born in Oklahoma, but I was raised in Tokyo. And at the age of 16 years old, we came back to Oklahoma. And 16 is the worst age to join a new high school.
Yeah.
And so the whole first semester, I had no friends, and it was really difficult. And then the second semester, you know, you switch classes, and there was one person who asked to be my friend, and her name is Jenny Marsden, and it's his younger sister.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So Jenny was my friend, and she had told me about her brother, and at this point, he had had his like first big breakout role. And for me, as somebody who always wanted to be an actress, I just couldn't believe I was 1 degree away from somebody who had made it.
Yeah.
And then she was like, hey, my brother's coming back. He wants to take out, you know, some of our friends. And so he took us to Bennigan's. Do you know some Bennigan's?
I remember
Bennigan's. And
great appetizers.
Yeah. Green, and I remember it
Yes,
very
exactly.
distinctly.
And then Brahms ice cream, which is in like Oklahoma and Texas. It was a very wholesome night, but it was so impactful for me. So it was like 13 or 15 years later, I was at a GQ Men of the Year party, and I've already had a little bit of success, and I see him, and I think, oh my God.
There's Jenny's brother.
And I've been waiting, I've been like, will I ever see him? And I darted right over to him, and I was like, you're not gonna remember me. And then we just stayed friends since then. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, and it's really,
beautiful.
he actually mentioned this the other day, which I didn't really connect. He was like, you know, we're both in the X-Men universe. And I was like, I can't, like the 16-year-old in me like came back, and like, somebody who's, you know, at that time having such a hard time, and like can't believe where like life took me.
Well, there you are across the table from
I
him.
know,
Yeah.
exactly.
I know.
So deserving. Can I say thank you and bless you for being so open about your breast cancer diagnosis and treatment, and folks are always asking, how are you doing right now?
I'm doing great. Well, I have to say, you know, because of people like you who are so open, it made it so much easier for someone like me to talk about it. And the, you know, the impetus for wanting to talk about it was that I had something that I knew would help women, you know, something that was free, like the lifetime risk assessment test. That it's a free online test, and after a clear mammogram and clear ultrasound, it still detected my breast cancer. I'm doing great right now. The medication is tough. I don't know if you experience, it's like
the side effects.
The side effects. Yeah. It's been that I've been having a hard time comparing myself to other friends I've met who have the same type of cancer and have to do the same medication, and they're not struggling.
Yeah.
Right. And it's and so I had something the other day, actually, these like nodules on my neck, and it was because my medication created this, you know. And I say all that to kind of to bond with anybody out there who's, you know, going through that or feeling comfort in their own journey, because it's not something that I've easily found. But I'm doing great, and my mom is doing great. You know, she was diagnosed like about a year after I was diagnosed. So
wow.
Yeah, she's annoyingly good.
Yeah.
She's doing great.
Yeah.
She, like, her hair's full. You know, she went through, you know, 3 months of weekly chemo and a year of immunotherapy, and she has, like, more energy than ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys are so inspiring to so many people.
Thank
we
you
love
so
your
much.
mom.
Oh,
She's a
gosh,
real
yeah.
character.
She really is. She's my husband's best friend. That's not a joke.
And we love your husband, John.
Yeah, he's honestly the best. I couldn't have gotten through this and climbed the mountain without him. He's the best, and he's such a great father. And you know, he's the one who, when we had our first child, he's the one who learned the baby food maker. He knew. I didn't know that there were different bottle types, like for babies. Like after a newborn, you got to go like, and he's the one who knew all that stuff. And I was in a really deep postpartum anxiety, which I didn't know about. I knew about depression, but I was not expecting the anxiety. And so he really stepped up and was there. And so he's been there through so many difficult parts of my life and made it, strangely to say, like, fun. You know, everything was just really, he just made everything light. Yeah.
Well, knowing him, that's not surprising. He can always find the light side.
Yeah,
and
he
everything.
is. He's very funny.
Yeah.
People don't know this about him.
No, really? No. We don't know that about
I've
him.
been giving him some tips, for sure.
Well, Olivia, thank you Thank you. Thank you for everything and for this show, because it is a delight.
Yeah.
As you can tell from us. So we want everybody to know season 2 of Your Friends and Neighbors premieres Friday on Apple TV.
Now on GMA with a first look at the incredible new World of Frozen that's just opened at Disneyland Paris. Maggie Rulli got the lucky assignment to check it out. She joins us right now. Good morning, Maggie.
Hey, Lara, good morning. It was so amazing. And guys, the opening was a star-studded event. You had Penelope Cruz, Naomi Campbell, Tiana Taylor, Spice Girl, Emma Bunton, even the president of France, Emmanuel Macron. They were all there. But really, the people everyone wanted to see were Anna and Elsa, and we got the first look.
For the first time in forever, Arendelle's gates are open in Paris, France.
I welcome you to Disney Adventure World and officially declare World of Frozen open.
After the opening ceremony this weekend, Disneyland Paris welcomed fans into the magical world of Frozen, and we got an early sneak peek.
Well, hello. Yoo-hoo. We're about to have our very own royal encounter and get to meet Anna and Elsa. Thank you for welcoming us to Arendelle.
1, 2, and 3. Let it go!
And a next level animatronic Olaf.
Hi, I'm Olaf, and I like warm hugs.
I'm Maggie, and I like warm hugs too.
Who, yes, is so cute, he's worth melting for.
Well, aren't you adorable?
I could say the same thing about you.
Well, go on.
You're adorable. One of the really special things about Disneyland Paris is that you actually get to come inside Arendelle Castle and feel like you're actually in the movie.
And here, you can reenact all your favorite scenes while riding on Frozen Ever After.
So excited. Magical. Don't lie, I got a little wet on that drop.
From music to shopping.
And some things you can only find right here in the world of Frozen.
And a sparkling castle at night.
Another special thing about the world of Frozen is that it stays open extra late, and this place really comes alive at night. You can even eat dinner inside Arendelle. A tavern fit for queens.
The world of Frozen's inside Disney Adventure World, the newly imagined Studios Park, including Adventure Way and a brand new ride that keeps you spinning.
At night, Tangled Spin based on Rapunzel really has some extra magic.
And a first of its kind, the Disney Cascade of Lights, a drone and fireworks show right on the water. The sun may have gone down, but the cold doesn't bother me anyway.
Thanks for visiting Arendelle. Bye!
And guys, yes, I promised you at one point I did actually stop singing and look around, and that's when you see the details are just incredible. That huge North Mountain that anchors the park at 118 feet tall. It's made from 400 tons of steel. Every building you see was hand-painted using traditional Norwegian decorative methods, and Elsa's Ice Palace gets that sparkle from more than 300 crystals that they used to create it. But again, I really sung the entire time, so that was the joy for me.
Oh my goodness. And you posted some adorable pictures with your little one who was with you.
Yeah, she's the biggest Elsa fan, so this was the greatest day of her entire little life.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. That was great, Mags.
March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and there's a troubling trend of cases surging among people under 50. But there is also some hope thanks to a groundbreaking new treatment. Our chief medical correspondent, Dr. Tana Rua, is back.
Thank you, George. Yes, good morning. Mrinali Dembla was just 26 years old when she received the devastating diagnosis. But a new dual immunotherapy treatment is changing everything. Take a look. This morning, a new treatment for colorectal cancer as cases surge among people under 50.
I just thought my life was going to end.
After months of aggravating back pain and fatigue, Mrinali Dembla, just 26 years old, was diagnosed with stage 3 rectal cancer that had already spread to her spine. She was supposed to be planning her wedding.
I still remember the doctor telling me that I had cancer, and my first instinct was to say that he was wrong. I said, "That's not possible. I'm just 26 years old."
Genetic testing revealed that Mrinali had Lynch syndrome, an inherited disease caused by mutations in genes that repair DNA replication errors, likely causing her cancer. But the finding was surprisingly good news.
Patients that have Lynch syndrome are excellent candidates for immunotherapy. Because they have so many mutations in their cancer cells, it allows their immune system to recognize them. And they just need a little bit of a boost with immunotherapy to become effective at eradicating their tumors.
Doctors at Northwell Health Cancer Institute chose Mrinali to be one of the first patients to receive a new dual immunotherapy treatment. It works by taking the brakes off Mrinali's immune system so it can fight the cancer.
I'll take apple juice. Any snacks? I'll take Chex Mix.
Her treatment sparing her from months of debilitating chemotherapy and radiation, even running a 5K in the middle of it. After only 3 infusions over 4 months, her recovery was remarkable.
I was declared cancer-free in July of 2025, and I've taken 3 trips since then.
The benefit we see from immunotherapy can last for decades. Patients who are able to eradicate their tumors, they tend to stay gone.
Mrinali, who's now able to plan a future with her fiancé, has a warning for others.
I just wish I had seen a doctor when I was constantly sick every day. Just listen to your body. If you're having symptoms, if you're sensing something unusual, just please go to a doctor.
And doctors say the benefits of this immunotherapy can last for decades. The big takeaway, don't ignore persistent symptoms just because you're young. If something doesn't feel right, please see your doctor.
Absolutely, yeah.
26?
26.
26.
Hard to imagine that. But
immunotherapy.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
What an incredible gift we have from research to be able to do this.
In so many areas.
Yes.
Thank you. Coming up, #1 New York Times bestselling author Alex Aster is here. Tell us about her new novel.
We're back now with New York Times #1 best-selling author Alex Aster. She's here today to tell us about her latest novel, Starside. I'm so happy to see you again.
Thank you so much.
Feels
for
like
having
yesterday.
Me. Yeah, it does.
Because it kind of was. 8 months ago, you were here. We were talking about Summer in the City.
Yeah.
Here we are today talking about a brand new book. Feels quick, but you say, no. You had it in the bag. Literally.
Yeah, I mean, this is my passion. I've been writing since I was 12. I love this so much. I just am so grateful every day that I get to write.
And this book, Starside, has been in the making.
Yes. So Starside is about a world where swords have magic and power is not inherited, it's claimed. So there's Starside, that's the world of magic and immortals, and the gods actually live there. And then there's Stormside, and that's a side where mortals fight for scraps of that magic. And every 50 years, the gates between them open, and 50 mortals are allowed to go on a deadly quest for magic. So it's all my favorite things: enemy solvers, force proximity, dragons.
You call it romantasy.
Yes. It has lots of romance, but also a really deadly quest and an inner quest as well. The character grows a lot.
Alex, where do these ideas come from?
I just write exactly what I want to read. I have ever since I was 12, and now I'm 30, and I love the fast pace of young adult books like Twilight, The Hunger Games, but now as a 30-year-old, I want that kind of like adult romance and adult stakes. So I just write what I want to read, and this is my favorite book I've ever written.
Really?
Yes.
What makes this one different? I know it's a romantasy. I know that you're an adult now. And we get the premise, but your books are also magical, literally. What is it about this one that you're just lighting up over?
Eris is like a phoenix. She rises from the ashes. She goes through so much. She's so resilient. And so you have that kind of inner journey of someone who just has to get back up. And she has really high stakes. She has really good reasons for being on the quest. But there's also magic, like magical balls and dragons and all the fun stuff while really having like a deep inner journey.
I love that. TikTok just loves you. I mean, it's fair to say that they were, the TikTok community.
I owe everything to my readers there.
Well,
truly.
It's also, you're a really great writer.
Thank you.
I think you can claim a little of that power yourself.
Yeah, thank you. But I love them so much. Everything I write is for them, and I truly think about them every single day. And so I'm so grateful that they get to now read this because it's been my secret for years.
Yeah, you're good at keeping secrets and creating. You're like the Taylor Swift of books. I love the way that you're doing this. It's super fun for you and your readers.
Yes, I have fun every single day, and I'm just really, really grateful that I get to share this story with them now.
Can we get a little bit of an update? What can you tell us about book 5 in
the Lightlark
and the screen adaptation? Very quick.
I can say for the movie, you will get news this year. And for the 5th book, I'm working on it, and maybe I'll be back on GMA to tell you all about it.
Like, give me a timeline. Let me know. I don't want to wear the same thing.
I'll let you know. We can coordinate. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You and I have a date,
yes,
okay?
Thank you,
I'm guessing a few times.
Yes, thank you.
I'm so excited. Congrats on the screen adaptation. Congrats on this. Guys, check out Starside. It's her favorite. I mean, that says a lot. It hits bookstores stores everywhere tomorrow. Alex, we love you.
Thank you.
Danny, what did you say to George?
I'm not going to repeat that on television. I said, George, it was such a pleasure.
No, she said, no,
We're all good. We're good.
No. She said, hey, man, what's up?
How you doing?
How you doing, man?